Hello, today is July something, 11th, July 11th, and we're going to do two things today. One is I bought a new light. um, if one thing that you might not know about me that I share from time to time is sometimes I purchase a lot of equipment. So if you notice, I'll have like one monitor over here and then like another monitor. That's kind of like an extra monitor that I haven't been using. Um, and it just didn't have a home in the rest of the house. So that's why it's over there. Um, so yes, now like I do have other lights and stuff like that, but I was kind of looking for one that was a little bit more compact. I have like this large ring light. It's about like this big, and like to set it up is a little bit of a pain. So I had been eyeing like this light. Maybe I'll bring it down. Uh, is it like show and tell? Like I got this light. I had been eyeing it because it was like nice and small. So like I got it, and I just wanted to like one thing is I want to play around with it a little bit. So it's like this one here from KNF Concept, and like yeah, because like lighting makes things look nice, right? Like so that's one of the things. It was actually one of the things that really stopped me from actually like making any videos to begin with early on, because I was like, it doesn't look right. So like, you know, I have done courses and things like that where it's like they kind of like teach you to make your background nice and stuff like that, and I like clearly haven't really done that with my whatever is like going on back there. So don't look too closely, but maybe what I'll do is I'll turn off my light over there. Maybe I'll turn off this monitor and we'll see what that ends up looking like. I'll grab my phone back. A little bit of a different vibe. It'd be cool probably if there was like a light, some kind of like accent color back there or whatnot, but that's okay. Now it got like really bright, I guess. So I can turn this down a bit. I can play. Is it down or up? I can play with the lights a little bit because why not? Just have a little bit of fun with things. So one thing is like, you know, playing around with lights and stuff today, which I'm gonna do. I also like, I'm just like really enjoy my gear. So like, look at this thing, right? And the other like really cool thing is that these things are not like an arm and a leg anymore. Years ago, I've always had this interest in like filmmaking, and I love movies and television and all of this. But like the gear was so expensive. It was really expensive. There was a place in Toronto called Vistec, and they have like all of the really cool, like all of the really fancy and professional camera gear. And I would always look at those, and they were just really expensive, like just out of my price range for like what I would want to do with them. This is interesting. Not too bad of a light. Everything is a little bit flat, right? Like I got the light pointing to the back, and it's reflected off my wall back at me. So I'm gonna try like this thing out just to see what it looks like while we're here. It's gonna get a little bit dark and intimate. That's okay. So one of the things that I wanted to do was kind of play with lights. But yeah, the things are a lot more affordable these days. Like this light set and this thing was like no more than $200, 100 something, 200 something. And that's Canadian because I'm from Canada. Okay, so put this other thing on. Let's see what it looks like. Those little grids give a lot more like directionality to the light. So it's like shining like a little bit over me. So I'll do a little adjustment here. But so this is one of the things. The other thing was like that I wanted to do is kind of talk about the Haizhen transformation. Because like I realized like one of the challenges I think that I've been having is finally landing on what the Haizhen transformation is. And this is kind of this funny lesson that I've taken with me, that I continue to be presented with as I go through this journey. I guess like specifically of marketing, because like I would go through, and I've heard that idea of like having to find your target audience so that you know what you're talking about and that you can have a specific message so that you can be talking to a person. And I think what happens is like in my head, I'm going like, I understand that, and also I want to help everybody. So then I want to talk to everybody so that everybody will come to me. But one of the things with this whole process is like if you're talking to everybody, you're basically talking to nobody. It's like language that's not specific enough to resonate with anyone, and it just kind of like a wash. It's just like noise, I suppose. So that's the other thing that I'm doing today, that I'm working on today. I'm just like checking out my lighting here, which is pretty cool. Like it's like dark and intimate back there. I also realized that I have a really nice window here that during the day I get like this huge, like very nice kind of light source from. But so maybe not necessary if I'm like facing this way. And then now that I've turned off all the lights in the back, it's actually kind of cool. I should take a little picture of like what it actually looks like if it would look any different. Um, so that's what I've kind of. It's a lesson that keeps coming up because like lessons kind of are like that. Like if you don't learn the lesson, you'll continue to receive it. Mm. In many things, but especially in life. So if you're receiving a message constantly, it's maybe something that you want to take a look at. Okay, so the thing that I'm coming to is like, what is the Haizhen transformation and who is it talking to? And the more that I look at this thing, I'm talking to a version of myself that used to be a place where I was at one point in the past. So where was I? I was working. I guess I was working too much for my own personal energy, and I was working in an industry that I enjoyed, that I liked, because I was in healthcare and able to help people with the actions that I was taking, but the environment was not my favorite. And it's not that it's a bad environment, it just wasn't the right one for me. So then I was in a spot where I would go through cycles of burnout. Basically, I would work, and then I would burn out. And then usually where that manifested was in my personal life. So then I would come up, like have some type of disagreement at home or some type of tension with family. Um, Usually it was at home. So unfortunately, Adrian took the brunt of all of this. So then I would go through cycles of burnout, of just working too much and just not being aware. I was in a place where I was just doing things because I could. The mentality there kind of is like, well, you got to work like 9 to 5 or like whatever shifts that are coming to you. So if I put in my time, then I'll get the payoff later. In some ways, it kind of works that way, but then in other ways, it's maybe not the best route to go. There might be like there's different paths to the same destination, basically. So that was a whole process. I learned a lot through there. And I kind of struggled through like figuring out the burnout, looking at the things that happened afterwards, and then like making adjustments myself. And at that time, I had not discovered hypnosis. I had not discovered human design. So I was kind of lost actually. I didn't know where to turn. Um, I didn't go to therapy. That was one of the things coming from my background and upbringing. Therapy was not really like this thing that we did. So I didn't go down that route. It probably would have been very helpful. I came to my realizations through my own independent search because the other thing that I was not really good at, and I probably mentioned this before, was asking for help. So then I didn't have many close friends that I could talk to. And I think that that was another kind of like sticking point for me because, or that was another block in my growth. Um, because like if you're able to talk and articulate like the things that are going on with you, then you get outside perspectives, and then you can have people that are kind of weighing in and saying like, yeah, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, maybe think about doing this, and like kind of giving those types of encouragement, support, like that type of thing. And then what happened next? So I continued to work. I eventually continued to progress in that company, and the burnout just continued. The burnout cycle just continued. It would be like burnout, working towards like working and thinking like, oh, like I got a weekend off, I have a vacation, I have whatever planned, and that's when I'll recover. And over time, it just kind of like compounded. Um, Around that time, I discovered hypnosis, and that was really helpful because like before I got into hypnosis, I didn't have a good understanding of like how to change like myself, my mindset, my limiting beliefs, things that I had held on to. It just kind of like, oh, like I'm this way, and I didn't know another way of observing that. So after, in about 2019, I had discovered hypnosis. I went for a certification training, and I went for another round of it, and received a master's certification in neo-Ericksonian hypnosis. And that kind of like really opened up my eyes to a whole other world. And it's not specifically that like the hypnosis work is really great, and working within that framework and with that modality will get you shifts, because the way that it works is it's working on communication with your unconscious, that part of you that actually runs, like does all this stuff for you, rather than thinking of like conscious will, which was, if I'm looking back, that thing that kept me going was like, oh, like that conscious voice that's saying like, you have to do this, this is the way that it's supposed to be. And then probably like beating up on myself of saying like, why can't you do this and other people can, like those types of thoughts. But really like unconsciously and further deeper down, um, my unconscious, all of the other things was saying something different. So what was it saying? It was, um, for me, I began to let go of my image of myself in a particular role. So I was raised in a time when the idea was you would go to school, get a job, and then retire at that job, right? That's loyalty to company and all of this, and the company would take care of you and all of that wonderful stuff. And that still can happen, but probably less likely. In my progression of my career, I ended up feeling really passionate about what I learned through hypnosis. I really wanted to get that kind of modality more out there. And so that's one of the things that I started doing. I started working with people online. I started to have some clients here and there. But I didn't like go full time into it because I was like still like one foot into this like, you know, daily work kind of world. I also wanted to, I guess I had a family to support and all of this. So my approach was never to kind of like jump into things. There are people out there that kind of just kind of up and leave and then go do something else, and then it works out really well for them. I mean, I don't doubt that it could have worked out that way as well, but the amount of kind of like struggle and turmoil and that could have happened in that phase um, might have been more distraction than helpful. Um, Even now, going through this process of like trying to put together this business, it's it's been a ride, right? What did Christian say to me just very recently? She said, you know, the entrepreneurial journey is like a spiritual one where you end up finding yourself. And I can see how that's very true, because you're on this journey, you're doing this thing all by yourself, more or less, um, at least in this case. So I'm like going through my life story, but anyways, all of that is to say, like I went through a lot of like research and self-help books and internet and videos and like learnings and all of these things. Um, and it was kind of like a long meandering path, like, oh, like maybe I'll try this thing, and then didn't really work, or like this recommendation, it sounds good but it doesn't really work for me. um, with hypnosis, it started to get a lot easier because um, the idea of context, shifting context, and just understanding the value of perspective and the perspective that other people have, being different than my own, um, sounds like almost like a given to say, but if you don't realize that other people have different perspectives than you, then you will move through the world as if your perspective is just copy and pasted onto everybody else. So when you start to understand that there are perspectives outside of your own, then you can begin to communicate with others, understanding that they have their own perspective that might be different from your own. Then I came across human design, and that's where everything really shifted, because human design gave me this blueprint of who I am. It was like being seen clearly for the first time. And I don't mean that in a way of like, oh, like people don't see like me for who I am and my value, and I've never been recognized and all of that stuff. But to be seen on a deep level to such minute detail, to some of the things where like nobody could even ever necessarily see it and articulate it in the way that it was presented to me. And that was really powerful for me. And that led to this whole journey of creating Haizhen and the Haizhen transformation. So what is the Haizhen transformation? That's like the big question of like of the work that I'm doing. I had a really helpful conversation with Adrian yesterday, talking about like I can't remember how I started the conversation, but I was kind of like, I'm struggling. I don't know what I'm talking about. And she was like, she's wonderful because she gives me like just like straight to the fact, and it's like, you're so right. That it's like I need a product to sell. I need something that people can understand, right? So like this isn't a sales pitch. This is just me trying to talk about this thing that is like that lives up here that I've lived through, and that I know that can be helpful to you. So the Haizhen transformation, what is it? The Haizhen transformation is a program, a coaching program that will take you from burnout to brilliance. I have notes. That will take you from burnout to brilliance. You will be seen clearly by yourself and others. You'll dissolve limiting beliefs, the obvious and the hidden ones, and build unshakable confidence to go after what you want. And that's the Haizhen transformation. How does that sound? I don't know. Jeez, it took me like 17 minutes to get to this. So I highly doubt that any of you out there will actually listen this far. And if you do, then I have incorrectly doubted you, and I apologize profusely and appreciate you endlessly for listening all of this way. So I'll say it again. The Haizhen Transformation is a program that takes you from burnout to brilliance, where you will first be seen clearly by yourself and others. You'll dissolve limiting beliefs, the obvious and the hidden ones, and then build unshakable confidence so you can go after what you want. That was pretty good. One of the challenges so far has been to have the words come out like that. So I guess all it took was a little bit of time, reflection, and just to sit down and actually do it. So that is the Haizhen transformation. Basically, it's if you're looking to take yourself, if you're experiencing burnout right now and you know that your brilliance is simply hidden under layers of crap, like things that you've taken on, buried underneath expectations and shoulds, and you have to, this is the program for you. This will help you, maybe for the first time, be seen clearly, more clearly than you've ever been seen in your life, by yourself, so that you can then present this to other people so they can see you clearly as well. Then you'll dissolve limiting beliefs. Get rid of the things that are right in your face that you're aware of, and also remove and move past, let go of the things that even you weren't aware about. And then finally, you'll build unshakable confidence, unshakable in any environment, in front of any person, so that you can go after what you want. Because ultimately, you are unique. You are one of a kind. And because you're one of a kind, there's only one of you. You can never be wrong when you are being yourself. I kind of like that. I wonder if I'll go back and cut this up and share this out, but this was very helpful. So I appreciate you. Thank you for, and I'm talking to you. I'm also talking to my camera, who is my little friend over the last while. And Today is day 30. Today's day 30. So it's been a 30-day journey to get to this point of taking all the work that I did on a program, going on a huge detour of like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing just because I'm like entering into a different space, and then coming back to the beginning where the answers always were. Um, and that's how things kind of work, right? It's not a circle, it's a spiral. We continue to move round and round and round. Uh, Even though on one level it looks like we're going the same direction, we're continuing to elevate. Going higher as a general indicator of quote unquote being better, but it's not a comparison. All the experiences are valid. And whatever experience that you're having, there is something valuable in it for you. I'm going to be signing off. This was nice. I enjoyed it. I hope you like I like this light. I do like it. And it's so nice. So I'm going to continue to play around with it. I'll see you later.